All right, let's dive into something huge today. We're going to tackle one of the most fundamental questions you could ask. Why is our world solid? Why can you touch things? The answer, it turns out, is found in this incredible concept called the K1 matter wave. It's a core idea from the Harmonic Scale Framework that honestly explains the very substance of reality itself. I mean, really think about that for a second. It seems so obvious, right? The chair you're sitting on is solid. The desk you might be leaning on pushes back. Your hand can't just pass through a wall. We take it for granted, but the reason why that is, well, it's one of the deepest secrets of the universe. And the answer isn't just, atoms or tiny little billiard balls. Nope, it goes way, way deeper than that, down to the very fabric of space-time. The solidity, the stability, the sheer thingness of everything around us, it all comes from a hidden foundation that shapes our entire experience. So let's really treat this like the profound mystery it is. We just assume that objects have mass and that they take up space. But why? Why isn't the universe just some chaotic, formless soup of pure energy zipping around? According to the Harmonic Scale Framework, our entire universe is constructed from 5 fundamental wave channels, almost like cosmic radio frequencies. Today, we're going to zoom in on just one of them, the slowest, lowest, most condensed one of all. This is the channel that makes matter, well, matter. So what is this fundamental channel? Well, the best way to get your head around it is with a really cool analogy. I want you to think about music. You know how in any great song, you've got the high-frequency notes that might be fast and frantic, but it's that deep, low-frequency bass line that gives the whole thing a solid, grounding rhythm? K1 is exactly that. It's the slow, deep, vibrating bass line for the entire universe. And its slow, deliberate pace is precisely what makes everything else feel so stable and real. Okay, so to get a little more formal, K1 is the wave channel with the absolute lowest bass frequency. And here's the crucial part, so listen close. K1 isn't a particle, not at all. It's the medium, it's the stage, the field where particles can actually form. It's the fabric that allows things to be pinned down to one spot, to have mass, and to resist being moved, what we call inertia. And this right here shows you exactly why that low frequency is the secret sauce. Over on the left, in the K1 channel, you can see how patterns move slowly. They're stable, they resist change, it's orderly. Now look to the right, a high-frequency wave is just chaos. Patterns are rearranging in the blink of an eye. You could never, ever build a stable world out of that. K1's slowness is what makes order possible. So this brings us to the most mind-bending part of this whole thing, the transformation. How does a wave, which is all spread out and ethereal, actually become a solid thing that we can hold in our hand? Let's use another analogy. Picture the K1 channel as this vast cosmic field of firm, vibrating jelly. It's always humming with energy, but under just the right conditions, a tiny part of that jelly can stop just vibrating and actually lock itself into a stable, solid little lump. In other words, it can set. And this slide breaks down that process perfectly. First, you start with just a simple low-frequency ripple in the K1 channel. Then, and this is the magic moment, that vibration locks into place. It becomes a standing wave, just vibrating on the spot like a plucked guitar string. And that final result, that tiny, localized, stable pattern, is what our senses perceive as a particle. And as soon as that wave sets, all the familiar properties of matter just emerge out of nowhere. The fact that this locked pattern resists being moved, well, that's what we measure as mass and inertia. The fact that it's locked into one specific spot, that's localization. Its ability to just hang around and not fall apart over time, that's stability. This is literally how a wave becomes a thing. Okay, so K1 is the medium where waves can set and become particles. But what kind of particles are we actually talking about? Who are the real stable residents of this slow, solid realm? Let's get specific. What are the actual fundamental building blocks of our world that are truly native to this K1 channel? This table gives us the whole roster. The true K1 natives, the particles that are perfectly stable standing waves, are the electron and the proton. The neutron gets to join the club, but only when it's safely bound inside an atom's nucleus. And pretty much everything else you see and touch is just built from combinations of these. But now look at the bottom. Photons and neutrinos are not K1 native. They're like visitors from other higher frequency channels. And that's exactly why light can pass right through glass, but you can't. And this all brings us to our final and maybe most important point. We've seen what K1 is and how it works, but now we have to ask, why is it so absolutely essential for our existence? So what would a universe without this slow, stable channel even look like? Why is it so critical to everything we know? A universe without K1 would be completely, utterly unrecognizable. If there was no way for waves to set, you'd have no localized particles. That means no atoms, no chemistry, no objects. Nothing would have mass. It would all just be a chaotic, buzzing soup of pure energy. Without K1, you get no stable structures, no planets, no stars, and certainly no life. The classical, physical world as we know it simply could not exist. And really, that's the ultimate takeaway here. K1 is the anchor of reality. It's the mechanism that takes all the fleeting, weird possibilities of the quantum world and locks them down into the slow, stable, predictable world that we can actually interact with. It turns the chaos of pure energy into the cosmos we call home. So the next time you tap your desk or sit down in a solid chair, just remember that what you're feeling is the slow, deep baseline of the universe, humming just beneath the surface of it all.